Hi all, so this is Angular 21 tutorial, complete course. So till now we have completed all these things. So last video we started API integration. So get API integration I have explained. Now we will try to complete post API integration. So get API integration means whenever you have to get the data from the API, that is get. But let's say you have to save some record, create some new record. So that is the post API normally what we have. So with the mock API also we can do with JSON placeholder holder API. But again, if you integrate the post API, that data doesn't get saved because those are mock API, free API, testing API, right? So that's why I will be using my real project APIs for completing the post API. So what we will do, just like API integration object component was created, so we will create one component. So from APIs, here we have one project that is fish tracking, and inside that batch API is there. Let me show you the batch object. So here you can see batch object is there. So this project was for institute fees management application. So on that batch API is there. So they can create multiple batches from this. So I will create a batch component. And in this same component, we will try to complete the whole CRUD operation. Okay. So let's open a new terminal. Ng generate component batch master. Let it create. Once the component is created, we have to create the route. The same thing gets repeated again and again. So this will be my batch, batch master. Now our some links I will just comment it because so many menus are there. Our route name, that is batch. It will go over here, and the title. Fine. Let's save. So let's run the project. I think I have stopped the project. NGS run. Fine. So this post API, get API, update API, and the delete API, all four APIs are there that we are going to integrate. Now in batch master component. So see, those who are learning Angular for the first time, or if you are an Angular developer, .NET developer, and you are going as a full stack. So majorly from Angular side, if you are a full stack developer in Angular, they won't go any deep because so many things are there again to ask, right? So they will just have 10 to 15% or 20% remaining for the Angular questions. So what is kind of question they might ask? They cannot go in deep, but they will check the confidence, right? So even if you have all the basic knowledge also now, still it is okay. You can apply as a full stack developer. Fine. Now, but those who are actually working on the Angular, you are going as Angular developer. So you have to get the knowledge of everything, whatever we have in Angular. So in interview, once your theoretical part is done, they will ask you some machine tests. So machine tests are around normally CRUD operation. Okay. So CRUD operation, like you should have a proper hand on the CRUD operation. You should not have any confusion while doing the CRUD operation. Fine. Now, so in this component, we are going to do the CRUD operation of the batch. Now the post API. If you see the post API, what is the object we have? This object we need to pass, right? So template form we will see first. So what do? We have to create the class. Now this is the object what we need to pass. So what we do normally, we copy and we create an object. So new batch object is equal to any, sorry, colon any is equal to this, right? This is how we normally create the object for our template form. But when you go with any, that is not the right thing. So you know key in this variable, these are the properties you are going to have. So what you can do, you can create an interface of class of it. So either you create in the same component or you can create in another folder also. So class batch. What properties I have? Batch ID. Instead of going with any, we have to create the strongly type interface, right? So class I'm creating, then batch name, string, data type string. Then what do we have? Created date. It will hold the date. So date. Fine. Now this is a class. Inside that class, we have created some properties. It is asking us to initialize this. So we can have a constructor, and in constructor we can initialize. So this dot batch id is equal to 0. Primary key we always initialize with 0. This dot batch name is equal to empty. Date. So date we can initialize with the current date. Sorry, new date. Okay. So this is what you have created. You have created a class of what number of properties you have it over here. Now instead of any, you can provide a proper class. And then instead of initializing this, you can initialize your class object with new operator, right? So your constructor will get called and your all the properties will be initialized. So this is what you should do. First thing, instead of going with any, you should create a class. Since we are keeping this class in the component itself, that's why we are not adding an export keyword. But if you have a separate file, you have to add an export keyword. We will see that later. Fine. So what API needs that object you created? Now you need a form, right? So what I will do, I will ask Copilot to create the form. And we need a complete CRUD design. But for now, we are just going to focus on the HTML part only, means post API only. So let's do that. Open editor file. I need CRUD design UI. So those you are not following from very first video. So in every episode, I'm explaining some part. Sometimes I'm using ChatGPT, sometimes I'm using Bolt AI, sometimes I'm using Copilot. Like in development, in normal development, how you can use the AI tool, right? So that also I'm explaining. So now currently what we need the CRUD design UI using bootstrap. Check the batch object and create it. But how do you need it? Create row, uh, call it for table, call for form, add bootstrap card also along with it in both column, add bg secondary, sorry, not secondary, warning color to header as background. Fine. So this is my prompt. Let's see how does UI we get. We have mentioned everything. Okay, what do we need? In what way you need? So it will read the object, what properties I have, and like that it will create a form. It is a free version, so that might it will take some time because with speed and obviously with free version they cannot give the speed also. And monthly we have some limit also, I think. Somewhere we can see that limit. Not sure where, but somewhere we can see the limit also. Okay, how much chat history you have used. Again, with free, you get so many things. I think $32 per month it is there. 32 or 42 something is there. Fine. So it has created a to-do list, what it has to do, and then it will create the UI. It is a free version, that's why it is taking time. Some of you might say, ki instead of waiting, you could have directly done it. But yeah, with paid version, it is so much fast. You don't have to wait this much long also. Wait. It is doing everything. I just need HTML UI design only. Otherwise, it will write the complete code also, complete CRUD, because we said CRUD, right? So it's what you need exactly that you need to say exactly. Otherwise, it will complete the whole operation, API call integration and everything it will write. You don't have to do anything then. What I will explain then, right? So you need to explain what exactly you need, in what way you need. That is how your prompt should be, up to the point. It should not be very generalized. Otherwise, it is an AI. It is like a small child. It has its intelligence, but if you don't say exactly what you need in what way, in what format, it will provide you the generalized output, right? Why it is taking so much time? Yeah, now it is updating just the batch component HTML. Let's give it some time. Let's get the API URL also. Now, how do you get the URL? So you have to click on test endpoint. Why test endpoint is not happening? So it will be like batches. Okay, here it is. So this will be my API, which we are going to use. Is that created? Yes. Let's keep it. Okay, so see, I said ki we don't need any Angular code, but still it has created everything. Now let's remove it unnecessary thing. We don't have to. We have to write it actually. Let me give it some time. So as I said, very properly you have to ask you what you need, in what way you need. Otherwise, it will do everything. See, I said like I just need HTML, but still it has created everything. Let's get rid of it. Fine. So we got the UI. Let's save and check how we UI we are getting. Localhost 4200, edit batch, something where it is edit batch. I saved, right? Save, reload, batch. Okay. So see, you got the right UI. Whenever we are working, we don't showcase primary key anywhere. Batch IDs or primary key, so we don't have to showcase. See, AI doesn't know that key primary key we should not show anywhere else. As a developer we know that, so that's why whenever you are using AI, so many people will say key market is getting disturbed because of AI. Yeah, little bit it is getting disturbed, but AI cannot do everything. This is very normal thing ki we should not show, or we should not have primary key visible in our application anywhere else, right? But it has added this in our application, so it's a very small thing, but still it forgot to cover that, right? So it needs a proper intelligent developer, then only it can perform well, right? So we don't need that. Now, so we created our object. Now that object we need to bind to our your template also. Again, I will revise one more time. So what we did, according to the API, what data you need to pass, that object you created over here. Instead of going with any, you created a class, what number of properties you have along with the data type, then you added it over here. Now we are using template form. So you have to import forms model over here. Then on every element, you need to bind square bracket, round bracket, ng model is equal to this. And then you need to bind new batch object dot batch name. And here square bracket, round bracket, new ng model, new batch object dot created date. See, because you strongly type it with your batch class, so all the properties you are getting IntelliSense. If you have gone with Anina, you won't get this IntelliSense. So that strongly typing what we see is it is there. Okay. Now we created object, that object we bind it to our form. Now on click of save button, save. So what we need to do on click of save button, we have to integrate the API. So let's create the function. Click on save batch, our function name. Again, while creating function name, variable, all everything should be descriptive. Now here you have to integrate the API. Fine. So how do we integrate the API? First, we need to inject our HTTP service. So HTTP is equal to inject. Sorry, I'm going little bit fast because this I have already explained. So this dot HTTP dot now, which API call you are integrating? Post one. So post. In GET API, we just had to pass the URL, but here URL and the body. Body means nothing but object. URL, comma. Object means the same object what you are binding over here. So this dot new batch object, you will bind it over here. Now you need the URL. Let's get the URL. So this is your URL. Let's copy. Here it goes the URL. Okay. Let's save it. Now again dot subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, your API call won't trigger. Bracket, curly bracket. Next, result colon any. We will check what response we are getting. Then we will add the data type also. Fine. Let's add a debugger over here in success block also and in error block also. Fine. Let's check. Currently, if we check how many APIs how many batches we have, so many batches are there. Okay, so around 7 records are there existing in the table. Now let's try. So let's say mm, winter 25 repeater, just a batch name, something date. Let's say when we are creating, so 2 days only, so 28. Now we have debugger on click of save. So if you hover on this batch object, you see whatever the data you filled in that form, that object, that data got stored into respective key value pair data. Okay, batch ID was Zuri because we initialized so. Continue. So you can see success block got executed, and in result, the whole object only you got. And here you can see batch ID 8 means the record got created because we got the primary key ID. Continue. So if you again execute this, see, whatever the record we just created is coming in the GET API. Got it? Again, if I try to pass the same name again, if I click on save, you see what happened. The same batch name already exists. So it will go to the error block. See? And in error, dot error, message, you see batch name already exists. So in error, you have to show the message also. So how you will extract error dot message. Fine. So over here, alert error dot message. Okay. And here we will say ki alert batch created success. Okay. Let's save, reload. Let's try one more time. The same name I will try it again because this batch name already exists. So I have a validation from API side. Duplicate data should not get entered, right? So let's try it again. On click of save. See, I got the error. It goes to the error block. Batch name already exists. Okay. Now if I pass something else instead of 25 repeater, new. So it will get saved. See, got it? Now get API integration I have already explained. So let's quickly integrate that API also because we have to do the CRUD operation. So this is my get API. So now get API, how do you integrate? We need to create a function. Get all batches. I forgot to complete lifecycle event. On the page load, we need to do it, right? Okay. For now, we will do the API call integration on the constructor. This is your get API integration dot subscribe round bracket curly bracket next colon round bracket result colon any. Now this API is going to return you array of batches, right? So batch list colon. So here also instead of giving array, response of this only you are going to get. So like this. Okay. And whatever the response you get, that you need to store it over here. So this dot batch list is equal to res. Okay. Now on the constructor, we normally don't call the API call function in the constructor, but I haven't explained the lifecycle event, so I'm doing it. Because this is like with the flow I'm going. So I forgot to cover that lifecycle event before API. We should have taken that. But anyway, so once I'm done with the template form, API call integration, then I will first explain you the lifecycle event. Then again, we will do the same thing with reactive also. Okay. So this normally we do it in ng on init. Fine. Now on the page load, we have the API call, all the existing batch list data you are getting that you need to display into the UI also. So we already have the UI, right? So at the rate for loop, you have to iterate on this. But again, data won't show because we have to create a signal. We will first see that why data won't display, then we will fix it. Fine. Now, so here, first serial number we have to show, right? So here we will show $index plus 1. Then here item dot, here we have to show the batch name and here we have to show the created date. Let's save and check. Yeah. So here you can see we got the data, 9 records. See, these are the 2 records we just created right now. Got it? So get API and the post API, these two are done. Then update and the delete is remaining. That I will cover in the next video. So we will be completing the whole CRUD operation. Fine. So again, this is very simple object. In when we have to see the reactive formula, there I will check. There I will use the API where we have foreign keys and everything, so that scenarios also I will complete. Okay. So again, with whatever the topic I'm going to cover in this series, with those topic and with that information, you will be able to successfully work on any project. I can guarantee you that, because most of the things are these are the regular things, like guard, interceptor. These are one time thing. Lazy loading, that syntax, one time thing. But this is API call integration, ng for, ng if, at the rate if, at the rate for, create directives, we have to use it, forms, validation. These are the mostly thing what we are going to use. Okay. So just practice daily, whatever I'm going, do the same thing. And once we are done with the basic topic, we are going to start the project. So if you complete that, I'm sure you will have a proper hands-on on Angular. Doesn't matter if you are a learner or if you are from another technology, you will surely get proper hands-on experience. Okay. Again, if you are new, please do like, subscribe. In video description, you will be finding a link of my WhatsApp group. You can join that also. Thanks for watching.